Paying off all your debt can be a financial mistake. Not later, immediately. Everyone tells you the safest thing you can do is eliminate all your debt. Pay it off. Own everything. Owe nothing. That's the goal. That's what responsible people do. But after watching how money actually behaves over time, I've learned something uncomfortable. The moment people feel the most secure is often the moment they quietly lose the most control. A man, 61 years old. He spent decades doing everything right. Saving, working, avoiding unnecessary risk. He had $280,000 in savings, and a mortgage left almost exactly the same. About $270,000 at 4.2%. For years, that number bothered him. It followed him every month, a quiet pressure. So one day, he decided to end it. He liquidated everything, transferred the money, closed the loan. Just like that, his debt was gone. That night, he sat in his living room. No bills coming, no bank notifications, no obligations. For the first time in decades, he felt in control. He felt safe. 3 months later, his wife needed medical treatment. Not an emergency, but serious enough. The cost wasn't small. $45,000 up front, and possibly more later. He didn't have $45,000. Not because he was broke, but because his money was no longer his. It was inside the house. Locked. Unavailable. Silent. So now, he had to make a decision. Not a strategic decision, a forced one. He called the bank, asked about borrowing, but things had changed. He was retired now. Income lower, risk higher. The rate he was offered? Not 4.2%, much higher. Less flexible, more restrictive. He considered selling investments, but there weren't many left. He had already used most of them. He looked at his retirement account and realized something most people never calculate properly. Withdrawing money is not just withdrawing money. It triggers taxes, penalties, timing risks. To get $45,000, he might have to pull out $60,000. And suddenly, the decision that once felt so safe started to feel very expensive. Not immediately, but structurally. This is where most people misunderstand the game. They think the problem is debt. It isn't. The real problem is losing flexibility, losing access, losing the ability to choose. Because when something unexpected happens, and it always does, you don't need a perfect balance sheet. You need options. Now here's where the distinction becomes critical. Because not all debt behaves the same way, and treating them the same is where the mistake begins. There is a type of debt that destroys you. Slowly, then suddenly. Credit cards at 18, 20%. Consumer loans with double-digit interest. That kind of debt compounds against you. It grows faster than your income, faster than your investments, faster than your ability to recover. That is not a financial tool. That is erosion. You eliminate it immediately. No hesitation. But then there's another type. Mortgages. Fixed at 3, 4, 5%. Long-term, predictable, controlled. And this is where people make a subtle but critical mistake. They see the word debt and react emotionally, instead of asking a more important question. What am I giving up to eliminate this? Let's strip this down. No theory, just numbers. You have $300,000 and a mortgage at 4%. Option 1. You use all $300,000 to pay it off. You get a guaranteed 4% return. No risk, no volatility, no debt. It feels clean. Option 2. You keep the mortgage, and you keep the $300,000. You don't do anything aggressive, just a balanced portfolio, something that returns, on average, 6 to 7% over time. Now the difference is not dramatic in 1 year, but it exists. You're paying 4% while earning 6%. That 2% spread compounds, year after year. But the real difference is not the return, it's access. In option 1, your money disappears into the house. In option 2, your money stays available, flexible, responsive. And in retirement, that difference matters more than almost anything else. Because your biggest risk after 60 is not interest, it's uncertainty, health, longevity, unexpected costs, timing. Let me show you how this plays out over time. A couple retires at 65. They pay off their house completely. They feel proud, disciplined, secure. For the first few years, everything is fine. Then, one of them requires long-term care. $6,000, $7,000 a month. Not temporary, ongoing. Without liquidity, every month becomes pressure. They start withdrawing, selling, adjusting, cutting back. Eventually, they reach a point where the numbers don't work anymore, and they face a decision they never expected. Sell the house. Not because they want to, but because they have to. And when you are forced to sell, you don't control the timing. The market does. Now imagine the alternative. Same couple, same situation, but they kept their low-interest mortgage and kept their assets. When the cost appears, they don't panic. They don't rush. They don't borrow at bad rates. They don't liquidate everything at once. They adjust, gradually, strategically, on their terms. And that difference doesn't show up in year 1, or even year 3. But after 10 years, it becomes irreversible. There's another force quietly working in the background: inflation. If your mortgage is fixed at 4% and inflation is 4%, the real cost of your debt shrinks over time. You are paying it back with cheaper money. But when you lock your capital into a house, that capital stops adapting, stops moving, stops working. This is the paradox. What feels safe often reduces your ability to respond. And in retirement, response matters more than comfort. People say, "I just want peace of mind." And that's valid. But there are two types of peace: the peace of having no debt and the peace of having options. They are not the same, and sometimes they come at the expense of each other. Because financial stability is not about eliminating every obligation. It's about avoiding situations where you are forced to make bad decisions under pressure. Selling at the wrong time, borrowing at the worst rate, withdrawing when the cost is highest. These are the things that destroy wealth in retirement, not a 4% mortgage. So the real question was never, should I pay off my house early? It was always something deeper. If you take all your liquidity and convert it into a fully paid house, and tomorrow life demands something from you, something you didn't plan for, what will you do? Will you borrow again at a higher cost than before? Will you sell assets when the timing is against you? Will you reach into your future and accept the penalties just to survive the present? Or will you realize that being debt-free and being financially secure are not the same thing?